when we came here to look at the resort and the rooms, they had us in a different room upstairs, a much more extravagant room. And they by chance showed us this other room that we could use as a breakout room, or another room which was this one. And we came into this one and I immediately, my field just kind of said, kind of underground and a little simpler. The other one had a little smell to it. This one. And as I come back in here to this evening, I feel that. It feels this very kind of cradling, nice. And I want to put that out, that as we progress over the next few days, how many people here have been to one of our 3 or 4 day, our larger retreats like this where we, oh, fantastic, great. So look, to this room, this for this retreat, this is our sanctum in here. We come in here, we just drop in. A lot of the sessions that we're going to start, we're going to come in and we're just going to, you'll see I just get in, I just kind of sit for a little bit and drop in. Which is nothing unusual. I do that everything I do. I get into some new thing, I drop in. And yet here I want to do it more. The amazing thing that happens when we do these retreats is the room transforms from a normal conference meeting room into a charged space. And when we set that reference, it happens. And I look at these retreats, and I look at this retreat for folks that are new to our process, to the Still Point process, as training ground. This is for me a training ground where I can come and, it's like anything. You want to learn thinking, you go to schools. You don't learn arithmetic and thinking right away. You go to the school and you practice, and 10, 15 years later, your brain is now a great thinking system. You want to build your body, you go to the gym. It doesn't happen overnight. You go there and you practice that, and the body gets sculpted and crafted and into whatever that structure that you're wanting is. Well, to me, the practice, and I call it Still Point, yet really, that's just a name that I use because it's simple and it's not easy to disagree with it. It's just kind of like, oh, okay. Yet really what we're talking about is cultivating our subtle experience. Our subtle body, our subtle state, which is really another name for consciousness. And so when I do a conference call, when I do a live stream, when I do a 1-day retreat, when I do a 2 or 3 or 4-day retreat, to me, this is where I can really practice the art of dissolving things. And so what we're going to focus on, this part will be actually more of me talking than the rest of the seminar. Really what we're going to do at each section, I'll give you a little overview, as much as I currently have, of what we're going to do. Because it could change really fast. Because to me, we're going to do what neutrality has in store for us. Tomorrow, we're going to, let's meet early tomorrow. Let's start at 9 o'clock tomorrow. Because we don't have 3 days. A lot of our retreats, we have 3 days to really deepen and cultivate. We don't here. And tomorrow we have a field trip as well. So we're going to let's start at 9. We're going to do a session. We'll have a break in some format. Then we're going to cover some processes. To me, we're going to focus on processes specifically geared to experiencing our subtle experience. And more importantly, using our subtle experience. I often in our seminars give a little taste for still point. How do we drop in? Everyone comfortable here? In fact, everyone go take a big breath in. For any new folks, and the breath goes in and out, and all we're really doing is saying to the in and out, well, let's dissolve the in and out. So you can do it easy. Take breath in, breathe out, relax, let go. And right there in that space at the bottom, in between the out breath and the in, just hold it there. New folks, another way, just take in breath in, and right at the top, just stop at the top. When you do it that way, it's exactly like holding the breath. Only the breath goes on its own, it keeps moving. In fact, this is the central experience that the rest of the work that we're going to do centers around. In fact, let's do one process here, and then we'll finish up with a little overview of the rest of the weekend. So as I'm resting here, I'm still holding. If you get this crystallization right here, this is what we're going to keep coming back to, and we're going to build and expand on this throughout the rest of the retreat. Just kind of notice as you're resting in this space. If you feel you start to drift or have thoughts or things come up, take another breath in and just drop in. I just took a breath in. I dropped right at the top. I'm holding the space right here. And as soon as I'm holding this space, for me right now, it feels like, I kind of feel like I'm on the unwind on the laser, for folks that have used our laser. I feel kind of a gentle, subtle rhythm. Kind of like anyone else feel that a little bit? Almost feels like a breeze. Or like, for me, when I drop into still point, it's almost like there's a pump now pumping up. I call this space the still point space, or the still point field, or the quantum field, the envelope of energy around the body. But when I rest and hold still point, I'm not just holding it for a moment to be quiet or to simply dissolve things. I'm holding it because when I hold it, it's like a spigot. And that spigot plugs in my field into neutral energy. And as I'm resting here, I'm cognizant of this field's expanding. So I hold still point. When I have a rough moment, I drop into still point, I hold it. I'm kind of waiting as this ripens, as it fills in, as it starts to. And I'm sharing this succinctly because I want you all to practice this. In between sessions, for me, I could do this 2-3 occasions an hour, where I'm going through some experiences. I do it so often, I'm often doing it when I'm interacting with people. When I could be in a conversation, I'm holding still point and filling in my field. Until a certain point, like right there, I could feel it happen. It takes a little while till things kind of fluff up a little bit. I took a sigh, I took a little breath, and my field, at that point, my field shifted and kind of, if it was invert, and it kind of went like this. It's just like a flower opening. It just opened. And at that point, there was a shift, and that really qualifies the first process that we do in still point. And the difference for me right now is I'm not holding still point anymore. Now my field is opened. To me, this is like This is like learning to put on clothing. And you put the clothing on. When you put the clothing on, you've got now clothing. Now you're ready to go out. For me, when I open up Still Point in this field, now my subtle body is on. And this is so perfect to bring up right here, right now, because I didn't just one day, to me this is not it's not a kind of visualization. It's not imagery. To me, it's a tactile, qualitative difference to my experience. Qualitatively, I'm not the body in this moment. The body is clothing that I'm wearing on planet Earth to interface with everything going on here physically. The form of my existence here is this subtle body. And I didn't get this in one moment. This is something I've been practicing since I was young. And not that has nothing to do with me. That simply says it's taken a lot of practice for me to be able to comfortably, at ease, open up the experience here. And yet I see people do it in 2 days, in 3 days. I tell you, each one of you will be versed and comfortable to be able to go from here, whoosh, here. And every other thing that we're going to do throughout the course of this weekend is based in living from here. In fact, if you can get here, you really don't even need the rest of the weekend, because this space understands how to manifest. So we're going to cover a section on manifestation. It understands how to navigate from this place. You can navigate from your body, or you can navigate from the quantum field. It understands from this space how to dissolve karma, how to dissolve an emotional cell memory, an injury, a psychological program or pattern. This space is well versed to dissolve anything. So as I come back here, and most important to me, which we're going to cover as well, this space here understands how to activate energy up the spine, withdraw energy, activate, open up the alchemy, the glands, and ultimately higher consciousness. So back to this space for a moment. I want to show another. That's one process right here. Taking a breath in, dropping into still point, resting here. That is one very specific process. I want to share one more process tonight. Probably one more. And that is a very simple process which is hugely important for right now, for this retreat. And also for using throughout the retreat. Any process that we share, if you do it once when we do it, great. If you do it 10, 15, 20 occasions this weekend, when you go home, it's going to be yours. Now it's yours. You take it home when something hits you at home. Whoosh, take a moment, drop in here. I get knocked around a lot on planet Earth right now. You can't be here and not be weebling and wobbling and getting knocked all over the place. And I go one way, I drop into still point till it pops me back up. Just in the moment for something else to knock me down, I drop in, it pops me back up. This process here is a huge one. I want everyone to take a moment, drop in again. By the way, the more you do this, for me, I never take a breath when I do this. It's not a breath process. For me, it's a light switch. I just shift and open. Envision we call this quantum field clearing. Envision a laser, a nice, one of those ones from the movies, like a saber laser. And I want you to very gently envision it going out to the outside of your field. Just take a moment to kind of very gently go around the outside of your field. Go real slow. And the goal of this is to cut any connections from the outside world. Any connections. Yogis often say that people have their chakras commingled with everything around them, their communities, their families, their friends, their work. So what we want to do when we do this is we want to say, well, now we're in the field, and now we're going to very gently just go around and cut any cords, any blockages, any holes in this field. If it seems silly, if what have you, just welcome it. I always tell people our seminars, if cynicism comes up, if judgment comes up, if, oh, this is nonsense comes up, welcome it. Just say welcome. Thank you for showing up. It's coming up today. It probably comes up every other day in life. That's what I mean when I say welcome everything here. And as you go around, cut any cords. This is something I do throughout my day. I have meetings, I have things, and I take a moment, and I don't even really do it the way I'm doing it here. I just very quickly scan the periphery of my field, make sure there's nothing coming in. If there's emotion coming in from a connection between your second chakra and someone else, even if it's your family, your loved one, your friend, your children, your partner. Very often, in fact, in Vegas, someone asked, should they do this? They're having a real problem. Should they do this with their partner? And I said, if you have any concern about doing it with someone, you definitely need to do it with them. I do it with everyone. I do it with family, friends, loved ones, because everyone's going through stuff. And if someone's cooking through some emotion and you're open to them on the chakra, guess what? You're going to get to cook that emotion too. Very hard to cultivate still. People often ask me, why can they experience still point so easy at our retreats? Then they go home, it's not so easy. This right here is the biggest challenge from my perspective. People have their energy fields open to everything around them. Yogis call it the outgoing senses. People's energies are like going through a vase that has holes in it. It's energies going out and interacting with all the objects of the world. We want to say to those things, well, hold on here a moment. We want to cultivate this space. So go real slow and just cord cut with any situations that come up. I don't pick things that come up. I just go slow and see, is there anything that comes up? People, situations. Notice when you take a sigh. Notice when. I'm not going to do this long. The key to many of these processes is doing them fast, being able to do them on the fly. Often people will have people come up, that family, people that aren't even near you anymore. Maybe they're not even on the planet anymore. You want to, for me, I just dropped into still point again. When I drop back in, every process I do, I can tell when I'm done because my field kind of goes whoosh and resets into neutrality. Kind of pulls me back into it. That's when I know, okay, good. Same thing with laser. When I do laser, I unwind until a certain point I go whoosh, and then I'm like, okay, that's done. If you want to do this more and really dig in and spend a little process going through. When I first started doing this, I went through and cleared from so many situations in my life. It's a good thing to do out in the field if you go out at some point during the weekend. Each of these processes is something you can expand on and play around and work in a little bit when we're not here together in this room. All right, good. Now we're going to shift real efficiently as we're resting here in still point. I want everyone to take with their perception, with your perception, just like we do with the laser. I want you to look around in this space. We've been opening up this space. This space is like a screen. This is the screen of our life right here. I tell people, everyone looks at their computer all day long. Every 10 occasions you look at your computer, take a moment, make sure you're looking at your quantum field. Whatever programs you're running in here, that's what you're going to get in life. You're running programs from the old age, old season, you're going to get those. A lot of thinking, that's a whole operating system. Emotions, well, we want to take inventory, introspect what's running here. So here's what I want you to do at this point. Take a look into this space, and particularly for folks that have been to our retreats previously, take a look at what is the bigger picture issues going on in your life right now. Is there any major situation? Could be a health situation. Could be something going on in your relationships. Transition. Work. Any big picture things going on that you is a good, just bring it up, whatever it is, just bring it up. Don't try to fix it, don't try to heal it. Don't try to cure it, don't do anything to it. Just bring it up here into the screen. And welcome it, simply welcome it. Just say aloha, welcome. As if it's a friend that's been holding something very dear for you. Right there, as soon as I welcomed the thing that I pulled up, I felt back to this unwinding. It feels exactly like the unwind on the laser. It's a rhythm, cranial sacral rhythm. That rhythm feels good. I'm just going to ride that wave, that rhythm. Trusting that rhythm will guide me right back to still point. Right there, I dropped in. See, I didn't process the situation. I didn't process the thing with the person. I didn't process. All I did was pull it up like you'd pull up a program on your computer, hit delete or remove, and then the computer, what does it do? It waits there as it's processing it out of the computer. The computer didn't need to look and understand it and talk to it and discuss it and do all that. All it needed to do was make the choice, I'm dissolving this entire package of a situation. Now I'm resting in still point. I'm stably resting in still point. I tell you, the key to this process is getting proficient at doing it. That doesn't mean if I have an injury or a challenge that I do it once and it's gone. Yet if I every day I go here to this space and that thing is there, I welcome it, it dissolves, I do it again next day. It might show up again, and I say, hey, aloha, what are you doing here again? And it dissolves until I get back here. Well, there are things I used to do this with that are gone. They're not there anymore. Because I practice the art of dissolving that thing instead of the art of holding it in place, which is what so many of our people have been trained to do in the last age. Do one more. Look around one more. Now, maybe the last one was a physical thing, or now look around and see if there's anything else. Is there anything else in there? Maybe it's something you're looking, an emotional pattern you run in your life. Or something you want to open to. Maybe it's around abundance. Or maybe it's something you want to get from this weekend. Something you want to set. Just pull it up. Whatever is the thing, the crystallization, the thing that you've been dealing with, pull it up. And simply welcome. As I welcome it, my body starts to unwind, dissolve. Just ride that, just go with it. Right there, reset, dropped in. These aren't long processes. For me, I do these things really fast. And resets right here. Now take a look from this place. Just take a little scan. Notice your quantum field. Notice this field. A big part of holding this field as open is opening your perception to this. Everyone's trained their perception around body. What we're suggesting here is opening perception around subtle body. All right, that's good. After I do this, for me, right there, I just squeezed the base sacred muscle, we call it, the base of the spine. I didn't really squeeze it, it pulsed. Every day when I do this 2-3 occasions a day, I open up into still point, I look around, make sure there's nothing coming into my space that shouldn't be coming into my space. Then I look, is there anything new that's happening? New injury, new emotion, new thinking, new anything. If it's there, if it's something going on, I welcome it. I do it again if there's something else. After I do 2 or 3 things each day, almost always there's a pulse. Rest here a moment. There's a pulse at the base of the spine. If you don't feel it, squeeze the muscle you usually use to go to the restroom. Just squeeze it very gently, ever so gently. Just squeeze it in a little bit. And then relax it out a little bit. And then squeeze it in a little bit. Now drop it right in the space in between the in and the out. For me, it dropped right in. I even just started to go, it just went whoosh, and it set right in that space in between. That space in between in and out is neutral. Scalar, prana, chi. Yogis, Taoists say holding this root is like holding an egg. You don't squeeze too tight or you crush. You don't, not too loose or you drop it. You just hold it right in that space. Now for me, as soon as I hold this space, we call this still point activation. Each of these is a different step. I'm walking you through the whole process of dropping into still point, clearing the still point field, activating the still point activation energy. When I tap into this space and hold this space here at this root, for me it's like tapping into a well. Literally, neutral energy. I feel coursing from the sacral area, from the root plexus, up the spine, up through all the organs and chakras and nadis and glands and up. As it rises up, and we'll cover this in more depth as it comes up. For me, it comes right up here to the glands in the cranium. Every day when I do this process, see, I practice this a lot. So when I do this, this might take me 5 minutes every day, 10 minutes at most, of me opening up, dropping in, clearing a couple things, checking in at the root until the energy flows up. To me, the reason I do this is right here. The reason I do each of the other steps is not because they're so exciting. I do each of them because if I do them, this neutral energy, and I'm holding the root right there, I'm holding this root at the base of the spine. This is not Kundalini, this is not some uncontrollable energy. I am stewarding the flow of this energy. To me, this is a conscious stewardship. What many yogis call withdrawal of the attention of the body. I'm consciously stewarding this in a new season approach, so this energy flows up the spine and comes right here to the inner glands, what we call ambrosia, still point ambrosia. And for me, I can tell it happens because as soon as this starts to flow up, there's a bliss phenomena that happens where some saliva starts to open. They call it amrita in India, where the back of and we're going to cover the ambrosia process this weekend and how to really get the saliva and the subtle secretions that happen in the glands and the cranium, the pineal pituitary and the hypothalamus and thalamus, which when they all come into coherence start to open up this sacred compound that many traditions refer to as the secret of the golden flowers, how Carl Jung described it in the ancient Taoist text. Amrita is what they call in India, ambrosia, elixir of life, essence, fountain of youth. All of these names depict the compound that gets released, the subtle essence, nectar that gets released, that puts us into a very nice state of consciousness that yogis, mystics call nirvana and samadhi. and is the entire reason that I do this every day. The reason I make all the products I make as tools to try to help me to hold and cultivate this experience. Just like a gardener needs good tools. You have the right tools, you can get that garden, cultivate it, and the flowering happens on its own. In my life, if I have the right tools, the right foods, the right space, the right retreat, this cultivation happens naturally on its own. And that's the same for each of you. You don't need a teacher, you don't need me, you don't need some book. When you come into the presence, into the space of neutrality, like water nourishes the flower, neutrality nourishes the flowering of human consciousness and this experience. From here, opens up even more up into the we call lotus, top of the crown. And again, right there, I just squeezed the base a little bit, squeezed it in and out, and then held it right in. As soon as I did, a little more energy up the spine, opens up. Right there, my body just kind of dropped into still point. It tells me again this process is done for now. Everyone take a nice big breath in. And just reset back in. Whenever I do a process, I always finish here. I want to integrate back. To me, this is integrating back into my body. Not my physical body. This is integrating back into my subtle body. Before I then go, I don't want to go interact with people when I'm all in a state of bliss. And people don't have any reference how to interface with that. So I come back here, I say, okay, good. Now I can go to that next interaction. And I can still get to the bliss, yet I don't have to blow people out and be all over the place. All right, so that is a crystallization right there of the still point process. While we're here in this nice space, everyone again, keep the field nice, open up the field again. Just take a breath, drop in still point. You hold this, just hold until the field opens back up nice. Good. One of the things that hopefully that experience, how was that experience for people? How was that? Blissful? Good. That's how I saw it. Good. We have another, do we have a handheld mic? Oh, good. One of the things that to me was it's so crystal clear, particularly in retreats, because the energy is very supportive, is, and hopefully some people noticed, there's a very specific thing that happens in this process and in everything we do with our technology and everything that I'm interested in. And that is that there's things that are like this, which is what happens on a planet that has gravity. This planet's gravity and spin pulls things into matter. That's what it does. It organizes elements, it organizes bodies and things, and that's a really neat trip. I'm very glad we have this thing. So I'm not like, oh, we need to get back there, because this is like a jewel. This is like a rare treasure in the universe. And so I dig it. It's good. And in the process of how I experience things, this experience of this, if you welcome it, can very simply unwind positive, negative, and neutrality. 3 distinct qualities, which every religion, alchemy system on planet Earth discusses. Only we don't want to think it. We want to be practically capable in navigating it. If you can navigate contraction, unwinding, neutrality, I tell you, you're versed to heal anything in the universe. And that's really what we're going to become very competent at throughout the course of the next few days. With our perception first and foremost, and second with the technology, because all our technology uses a waveform that combines positive, negative, and neutrality. That's the essence to our technology: positive, negative, neutrality. Whether the technology here, or the laser, or the Wi-Fi, or the new things I'm going to touch on that we're coming out with soon. Anybody want to share about that process for them? Directly after the process, I'm often going to ask people to share. And when I do, try to keep it directly to the experience, how you experienced it, what the experience was for you. And it's very, very, I see at our seminars, it's very powerful to share. These things, if we shared and talked out there, people think we're nuts. There's no room out there. No one has any room or space to discuss any of this. They're too busy contracting into the physical. Which is why many of us love this work that we do, because we get to go out and try to talk about it as much as we can. Yet in here, we want to honor this experience. And sharing, putting our focus to it, and it really empowers it, and it feels great. I see people who normally don't like to share things, and they share it's being in the real. To me, there is nothing more sweet than the real. So on that note, does anyone want to share their experience? And it's very powerful for others because it validates. And that helps establish things into the real. Anyone want to share about that, any part of that experience and how that was? Yes.
Yeah, for me it was, like you said, it was very sweet. It was just like just coming home to that state of just,
yeah.
And it was like longing. I was traveling down here, and it just seemed like we come to Vermont. I was telling you, just a few miles out of the airport, and it's just like, wow, this is just awesome. You can just feel that's peaceful, that stillness of us. Just, I don't know. It was just surreal for me, and right now it just feels so wonderful.
Yeah.
It's just very, very fruitful.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Very sweet. Thank you. That's so, two words there, two things that hit me right there. One is longing. To me, when I get to this space, it's like, oh my goodness, we're back. And it's very strong at retreats. We set the reference at retreats for neutrality. We put a lot of focus into retreats being places that are harbors for neutrality. And so for us, it's like, oh, okay, we're back here for a little bit. So good, I'm glad you're here. Again, thank you. Hi.
Hi. Usually it's my students who end up doing all the sharing because I oblige my yoga students to share on their feelings and experiences.
Yes.
So welcoming a difficult situation is a new concept.
Yes.
But I could feel the dissolving of the physical pain.
Yes.
And my field getting so big.
Yes.
And so filled with light.
Yes.
So that issue kind of melted.
Yes.
And so now I will continue to do that in my meditations.
Beautiful. Perfect. Thank you so much.
Absolutely important, because then the negative aspect melts.
Yes. Yes. Yes, in fact, the whole aspect melts.
The whole aspect.
Which really, no, that's so, to me, important, because the thing that I love about neutrality is that when everything melts, what's real and true stay. The qualities of the real and the true are there. And how you share is so appreciated. Because to me, this is a yoga that we're translating in a different, it's a yoga of perception. But Laya Yoga is the yoga of dissolution. And all we're saying is, okay, we're in the West and we got all these fancy structures around us, and so great, let's dig in. If we can dissolve anything and collapse anything to go here and dissolve and then come back here, and for me, it's not about dissolving it so it doesn't exist. I love that the body still exists. Yet at any moment, the problems set in when we have something and we can't dissolve it and collapse it at will at any moment. That's when the problems set in, because the identification and the resistance to it returning to its true state, which is not even. So thank you very much for sharing that. It's nice.
I think that's the key to perfect health. Is dissolving, constantly dissolving whatever comes up, so that it doesn't become a cancerous energy.
I agree. I think to me, we've been in an age where everyone was trained to hold on to things. It's not the accurate natural condition of the human anatomy. The human nature, as everything in the universe, is designed to dissolve and be in neutrality. We all come from neutrality. It's way more natural for us than polarity. Good work. Thank you. Anyone else want to share? One more. Yes.
I'd just like to say that my shoulders were very tight before.
Yeah.
And when I did the process, I just really noticed I felt no pain in my shoulders or no
Yes.
tension. It was just very, soft. And I realized that I also, in this experience, started to feel like I was not my body.
Yes.
And it was really wonderful.
Yeah.
And I think this is probably the most important thing we can teach people is to
Yeah.
go to go into this space.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
Yeah. Beautiful.
I
Thank
love
you,
it.
Nancy. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So very, very accurate. There's two things that I heard and that to me are really important. One is the ability to dissolve things. We think of the laser as this great tool, and it is a great tool, and yet to me, it's the training wheels part of the technology. The real capacity, I love it because it really dissolves things. I use it and I dissolve stuff a lot with it. In fact, to me, it's more of a dissolving technology than a cold laser. It is a cold laser, but to me, it's really, I don't go around telling people because no one would know what I'm talking about, unless we're at a retreat in Vermont. Yet to me, it's really a dissolution technology. How do we collapse karma? Which to me makes it really valuable. I wouldn't be without one simply because I've never heard of a technology designed to clear karma. Usually you got to go and do a lot of practice and go find a little yogi or go do something or, this is like, wow, you can just do this, and I see people use it. We were visiting my folks. My dad loves it. He uses it. It's like, I don't even have to tell him, oh, you're dissolving karma, but you can see it because he's smiling, he's using it. So, but yet this, when we practice and we can see the benefit of, going over, welcoming it, dissolving it, less pain, that's empowering. That to me is so empowering. And that's what practicing it induces. Oh, I don't think, from my perspective, it's more the physics of the plane. In the last age, the physics here, it's like a lens, on a microscope. You see one thing and everything behaves. You flip the lens and everything is totally different physics, different relativity. In the age we were in, the condition here was that was the physics. The physics were polarization, karma. And the new season, the polarization is neutrality. So it was to me, it was a natural condition of the last season. And we're in new season, new physics, new condition. And that's what our work is about. Our work is about a new season technology. All right. Anyone else? I knew there was one more. Yes, please. Yes. Yes.
Humans, and that lost my train of thought. That the blossoming cannot occur without reaching and being in touch with those feelings, yet not touching them, just letting them blossom.
Yes. Beautiful. Beautiful. Sorry. I agree. I agree. To me, I don't differentiate a whole lot between a physical thing and an emotional thing and a psychic thing. For me, to me, they're all valuable. They all have great blessings in them. And yet to me, they all have one thing in common, and that they all are woven of the same essence. In other words, the same essence that weaves everything, whether it's elements or stars or cells or bodies or things we build or emotions or thinking. It's the same neutral essence fabric that is the underlying thread that weaves all of these different experiences. And so to me, my only challenge on some regard around thinking and emotions on planet Earth is that in the last season they've taken on a form of their own, so that people can in many ways put so much focus and emphasis on them that to me, I see great value in whatever they are, what emotion, thought. The faster we can welcome it and dissolve it, to me, the faster we can get to the essence that's inside of it. And to me, I really like getting to that essence, because that essence is usually something that's lasting, and it's usually a quality, which is not unlike an emotion. It's more of a quality, less polarized, a quality, whether it's love or joy or peace or happiness. It doesn't, not to devalue emotions. Emotions are valuable too, yet they come and go. And to me, I very much long for that quality that stays and is lasting. And is, but I value the other ones also. So to me, whatever comes up in the next few days, use this as a laboratory, if you will, to welcome it. See what happens. Many of the people have been here to our retreats have noticed, right, after a day and a half, if you keep welcoming things, everything that's coming up, you'll notice at a certain point in the retreat, all that stuff that's been cut, it's like popcorn. It's all going to settle, and we're all going to be in this neutral space together. And those things aren't going to be coming up so much. So in the first day and a half here, really, really cut back on chit-chat. Try to not interact too much with people in the outside world, if you can. Cut back on TV if you like TV, and cell phones and computers. I'd shut everything down. I'm not going to take phone calls the next couple of days. I'm not going to be checking the computer the next couple of days. For me, if I do that stuff, my attention starts to get caught up in what's happening out there. I don't want to do that right now. I want to keep it close here. I want to embrace my field with neutral essence. Food, don't eat too much food. You eat food. Food is in many ways for people a way to dissolve the things that are coming up. Stuff comes up, they eat some food, food releases L-tryptophan, they relax, stuff dissolves. It is the exact same process to taking a moment and welcoming whatever it is that came up. Only you don't get bigger and you don't feel energetically heavy. Exact same process. So whatever comes up, a little challenge before you go for the food, just welcome it. And tomorrow, and that's the key, tomorrow we're going to dig in. We're going to just really, with everything coming up. Every so often, take a moment, scan your field. You know, when I go around interacting on planet Earth, to give you a sense of how I use these tools, I use them on the fly. I don't sit down and do a process. I could be from a meeting, I'm going into another meeting. I'm clearing my field as I go around the outside. I'm welcoming, oh, that was going on. I welcome that, dissolve it. I squeeze the root. I make sure there's energy flowing up in my experience, and I get to the next moment, and I reset. Now I have a new conversation, I don't want to bring that situation from the last one with me. Then we're projecting. See, half our planet is still in a projective trip, where they're projecting all the hurts and emotions and pain and thoughts and everything, injuries, into their next moment. And they're pulling anyone who's got a weaker condition into that experience of phenomena with them. And that's happening on a collective level right now. In fact, our shift as a people is going to be defined by how many of us align to a power that can really stabilize and shift that stuff into a new era, a new moment. In my life, I don't want to bring anything from the past. I want to clear it before I get to that next moment, whoosh, open up and flower into that next moment. I want to flower from the future, who we really are, which isn't really the future, it's the nonlinear. And the key to that, for me, is neutrality. I am not like neutrality is such a great thing, it's some new religion. No. Neutrality has one purpose. It's like the water on the garden. Neutrality to me is the thing which enables me to flower my expression, my experience. And that's the same for everyone. My experience is not the same for everyone. Has their own expression that they're here to share with the rest of creation and the rest of this amazing experience. And to me, neutrality's blessing is that it affords each of us the opportunity to do that authentically and fully. All right, good. Tomorrow we're going to meet at 9. We may do a little bit along the way here, a little bit of a process we do that I used to call quanticize. Now more and more I'm calling it ormicize. Because to me, it's how I activate Ormus every day, Ormus energy, high spinning energy. And I want to, throughout the course of this next few days, I want to do not long sessions, a little bit. I do it 15, 20 minutes. I'm going to walk you through it. By the end of the weekend, you're going to be experts in it. It's easy. You don't need years of yoga training. You're going to learn it. It's going to be easy. But it's a very quick way to shift and activate higher spinning ether in the body. The things that we're going to share in the next few days are the things that Lily and I use in our life. We use these things on a daily basis. They're what enable me to keep holding the experience of my quantum field and keep downloading and expressing new essence into this moment here on planet Earth. Tomorrow afternoon, we're going to take a trip. We have a bus coming, and anyone who wants to come to our town where we live and see our building and go on a little tour around there, we're going to go over there in the afternoon. We have an action pack that we're squeezing a lot into 2 or 3 days. We're squeezing a lot into it. We're going to come back after that. We're going to have a nice meal. Maybe they might orchestrate a little fire for us, which will be a nice thing to do on the solstice. That's about as much as I've figured out so far. And even that's a stretch for me in my world, if you see how I go through things. We're going to have a lot of fun on Saturday too, okay, and Sunday. Saturday, just for folks that want to have a reference, we're going to do some more processes sessions Saturday in here. We'll try to find some space so people can go out and explore a little bit and use some of the tools. Part of it is we're going to practice things here. Other part is I want people to go around the place here in the afternoon, go on little journeys. And I want, as you go, I want you to cultivate, use these new tools in your journey out there. You can do it in here, it's one thing. If you can do it while you're out there, then when you go home, you're going to really be comfortable practicing these things. And then Saturday night, we're going to do a little celebration, which is always fun. We do nice celebrations when we all get together. And then Sunday, we'll do a session in the morning to kind of weave everything together and share some new and exciting things that are going on. All right, I want to, again, thank each of you for getting here, for being here. It's a real treasure and joy for me to ever get to do this in my own life, and even more so when there are other people who also want to do it. So I am deeply appreciative to each of you for showing up and being present and for who you are. Be easy. Be easy on you the next few days. We've all been through a lot. You can't have come here to planet Earth, especially now at the moment we're on right now, and not have gone through a lot. And the more we can have that space in our own experience, the more we can have it in our work and understanding for what everyone else is going through. Take hot tubs, take little walks, be gentle, and don't talk as much. In retreats, I'll try to slow down. You'll see tomorrow I'm not going to yap as much. Which is good for me, it's good for you. All right, good. One more, take a nice big breath in. Hold it right there. You'll start to feel that kind of pulls you in. I liken it to kind of those tent poles, where the string and you line it up and it's like whoosh, and it just locks it in. That's what Still Point does to me a lot. Just go, okay, I'm in here. It's holding me. Quick scan around the outside of the field. All right, good work, everyone. Good work.